My name is Rachel. I married my husband John 3 years ago, and we've been living happily ever since. Both of us work hard, so we live comfortably, spending our days off on trips and having fun together. And now, there's a new life growing inside me. My belly isn't noticeable yet, but the baby is almost at 13 weeks. I was hoping to announce the news to everyone once I got to my second trimester. My life was complete with my beloved husband and our cute baby on the way. We're not particularly wealthy, but we manage a decent living, and I would say people may consider us to be couple goals. But there's one thing that bothers me. It's my husband's sister, my sister-in-law. I just can't get along with her. My in-laws are really nice people and have treated me like a real daughter since we first met. But my sister-in-law didn't like that and started making snide remarks about me. Even at our wedding, she complained about the food and embarrassed the staff and kept asking me, "How much did you spend on this? It's John's money, isn't it? You could have at least kept it a couple of notches down." Saying that, she only made sarcastic remarks to me. She clearly doesn't like me and behaves like that every time we meet. Because I don't meet my sister-in-law that often, and it's just a matter of putting up with her once in a while, I kept telling myself that it's okay. However, she started to stay at our house very often. She got married before us and has a daughter who just turned 4. She and her husband always liked to travel, and now that their daughter is a bit older, they've started to travel a lot in the past 2 years, and they always stay at our house the night before their trips. It's true that our apartment is just 20 minutes by car from the airport. Even though they could just head straight to the airport instead of coming to our place, they always spend the night at our house before departing for their trip the next day. At first, I didn't mind, but it's starting to become a regular occurrence, and I really don't like it. My sister-in-law's family always shows up unannounced, ringing up our intercom. "Hey Rachel, we're here!" It happened again while I was having dinner with my husband. In a hurry, I asked John, "Did you know they were coming today?" He shook his head in response. "Hey Rachel, open up!" That loud yell from the other side of the front door left me with no choice but to open it. "Oh, we haven't had dinner yet. Can you fix something?" With that, she sat down at the seat where I had been sitting just a moment ago. Beside her, my sister-in-law's husband and their daughter took their seats. There's no, "Excuse us for intruding," no, "Sorry for the sudden visit," not even, "Can we have something to eat?" Nothing at all. They just come over as if it's their own place, hang around, and treat me like their housekeeper. I really hated that. Despite my feelings, I cooked and entertained my sister-in-law's family, only to be told, "Rachel, isn't the food a bit bland today? Could you pass me the salt?" And with that, she made another request without even trying to get it herself. I've asked John a few times to help me out, but he just says, "I'm tired from work," and just drinks beer with my sister-in-law's husband. Normally, I have no complaints about my husband, but I hate it when he does this. My sister-in-law's family eats dinner with us, drinks, and makes a huge mess without even offering to clean up. One day, unable to bear it anymore, I said to John, "Can you ask your sister to refrain from coming so abruptly? It's difficult for me to prepare food in a rush and clean up after their mess." But John just said, "But it's not like they're here every day. They only come over sometime, before a trip, right? Don't be so mean." And so he dismissed me. Even after that, I pleaded him several times, but he never listened. During those days of feeling helpless, I found out I was pregnant. John was very happy about my pregnancy and even accompanied me to the hospital. He helped carry the groceries. We read parenting books together. But still, he never says anything to his sister and her family. Just the other day, knowing very well that I've been unable to carry on with my regular day due to morning sickness, "My sister and her family are coming over today," he casually told me. "Wait, what? I can barely function right now. I can't cook a full meal. And honestly, it's much better for me to just lie down. When I said that, he responded with a smile. You don't have to force yourself. We have beer. Just prepare some snacks. My husband, grinning as he said this. I can't just lay down while his sister and her family are here. Why can't he understand that? Even if it's just snacks, we don't usually keep ready-to-eat meals at home, so I have no choice but to prepare something, however simple it may be. He should be able to figure that out if he gave it some thought. After that, I tried several times to negotiate with my husband to decline their visit, but all he said was, "My sister's already on their way here. It's too late now." He would just say that. I had no choice but to prepare some snacks while not feeling well and went to bed early. But in the end, I was woken up by my sister-in-law's loud voices and couldn't sleep at all. And I have to go to work tomorrow. I thought about this, but in this situation, I couldn't even tell my husband to be quiet, so I endured it somehow. The next day, it seemed like my sister-in-law's family was leaving early for their trip, so they started preparing around 4 a.m. Their loud voices and bustling activity woke me up involuntarily. Then they came into my room uninvited and said, "Sorry, Rachel, could you give us a ride to the station?" They even went so far as to ask that. But I'm still in my pajamas, and I haven't even put on my makeup. I have work today. You can prepare when you come back. We came by train and we'll be late if we wait for the bus. Please, hurry up. Being talked to like that, I got really mad. I went to wake up my husband and said, "John, can you please drive your sister?" But all he did was moan and refuse to get up. No matter how much I shook him or called his name, he stubbornly refused to wake up. Seeing this, my sister-in-law, unable to bear it, said, "Rachel, hurry up! We're going to miss our flight!" And she started yelling at me. I had no choice but to drive my sister-in-law to the airport. And when I got home, my husband had already left for work. There were dishes from what seemed to be his own breakfast left in the sink, and I thought he didn't prepare anything for me, and I felt sad. 2 months later, when my belly started having a noticeable bump, I had some leftover paid time off, so I decided to cut work off in the morning and go home. That's when I noticed a voicemail message on our home phone. When I played it back, it was a message from my sister-in-law saying, "Hey Rachel, it's me. I'll be coming over again this evening. Thanks." Hearing that, I thought, if I stay, I'll just be used as a maid again. And I hurriedly packed my things. I decided to tell my husband that I had something to do and was going back to my parents' house. With that thought, I was about to leave with just the bare essentials when an idea came to me. I left the bags I had prepared at the entrance and checked the contents of the pantry. Just yesterday, I used up all the groceries, so there's almost nothing left in the fridge. There was only one frozen pasta left in the freezer, but I gathered all the instant ramen and a few ready-to-eat meals I had kept for emergencies, took them all, and went back to my parents' house. A few hours after arriving at my parents' house, I got a call from my husband. "Rachel, my sisters are coming today, you know. Where are you? They said they left a voice message." "A voice message? I don't think there was any. Plus, I got called back to my parents' house because I have things to do. I'm staying overnight and I'll be back tomorrow." Upon hearing this, my husband's mood turned sour. "So, what am I supposed to do about dinner? My sisters are coming and there's nothing in the fridge." He started to panic, but it was none of my business. "Why don't you discuss it with your sisters?" "Oh, my dad's calling me. Gotta go." "Hey, wait, Rachel!" Ignoring my husband, I hung up the phone and set it to silent mode. Actually, there was no truth to being called back home. But if I had stayed at our house, I would have had to put up with the same unpleasant experiences, as always. I couldn't bear to stay at home thinking that, so I had to leave. That day, I ate the meal my mother had cooked for the first time in a long time, got a good night's sleep, and the next day I went shopping with my parents for children's clothes. When I remembered to check my phone, there were multiple calls and messages from my husband. Among them were messages blaming me for the hard time he had. I was incredibly upset and angry. Then I sent an email to my husband. "I'll be bringing my parents back with me tonight. I think we'll get there in the evening. Could you please clean up the room? Oh, and Dad said he wants to have a drink with you, so please prepare some snacks." Then I put my phone away and enjoyed the precious time with my parents. Around 7 p.m., I arrived home with my parents. My husband looked noticeably thinner, even though I hadn't seen him in just one day. The house was not completely cleaned up, and there was garbage scattered in places. "Good to see you, Mom and Dad. I'm sorry, my sisters came yesterday, and the room is a mess," he said apologetically to my parents. "Don't worry, you didn't expect us to come." My parents calmed him down, saying this. I made some quick snacks with my mom and served them to my husband and dad. "So, your sisters came yesterday. Must have been tough, huh?" my dad asked my husband. Then John opened his mouth and began talking about how hard he had had it. When my sister-in-laws realized there was nothing at home, they got in a bad mood and said, "Order us something already." Apparently, they had John order whatever they wanted, like pizza and sushi. On top of that, they made John go to the convenience store alone to buy drinks, alcohol, and snacks. When the delivery arrived, they demanded money from John. He told me he spent about $180 just yesterday. My sister-in-law's kids are still small, so it can't be helped, but she always makes a mess after eating. However, neither my sister-in-law nor her husband say anything. I had pointed it out before, but they said, "Can you not interfere with our stuff?" Ever since then, I haven't said a word. John had never done any preparation or cleaning whenever the sister-in-laws came over, which is why experiencing this firsthand, what I always do, finally made him realize how hard it was. He told my dad, "I even had to take care of my sister's kid and give her a bath. I also had to prepare their beds. I was really exhausted." When John was talking to my dad like that, he seemed really small. My dad just listened to John's story silently. When John finished talking, he asked, "It sounds tough. I heard from Rachel as well that your sisters visit quite often. Is that right?" In which John replied, "On the other hand, yes, that's right. I've always left it all to Rachel, so I didn't realize how hard it was. I've decided to firmly refuse them from now on." And then he turned to me and said, "Rachel, I am really sorry. I didn't realize it was this hard. I'll definitely say no to my sisters." My dad just smiled warmly, looking at me, and I subtly gestured to my dad, trying not to let John notice. Yes, this was all part of the plan. I had talked to my parents about my sister-in-laws when I went back home. My dad suggested that I should go and put John in the same position. As a result, John understood how hard I've been having it and had him promise to firmly say no to his sister's visit. Everything was going as I had planned, though I secretly pumped my fist in joy. The next day, John contacted my sister-in-law and said, "Sis, I'm sorry, but please stop coming over to our place. It's too much for us to have you over, and we've had a hard time." He said that and refused to have her family over in the future. My sister-in-law and her husband were angry and kept coming over, but John never opened the door. Furthermore, John said, "I'm sure my sisters won't give up and will keep coming." He suggested moving. With our baby on the way, we decided to move to a larger apartment. Of course, we're keeping this a secret from my sister-in-law and her husband. We spoke to John's parents about the situation and asked them not to disclose our new address to my sister-in-law's family. Since then, they have stopped coming over. In fact, our interaction with my sister-in-law's family has significantly decreased. We're relieved that we no longer have to deal with them. A few months later, we were blessed with a daughter, and now we're living happily. During major holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving, we do visit John's parents, which means we meet my sister-in-law's family, but we never reveal our address, no matter how much they ask. They've thrown fits and demanded our address multiple times, but John's parents scolded my sister-in-law for this behavior, so she stopped asking. I guess this is the right distance to keep. We've settled into this arrangement and have moved on with our lives. John has become more proactive in doing household chores and childcare ever since that incident. Even though he's working, he is supportive and involved in our daughter's upbringing. That incident must have had a real impact on him. In a way, I feel a bit grateful to sister-in-law's family for sparking this change in John, but I'm keeping that thought to myself. For now, I plan to have John help out a lot more with housework and childcare.